Gamer7 and welcome back to another Create a Sim video. I'm finally going to be having Create a Sim videos come back to the channel quite a bit. I had like this sort of big plan for this sort of series, and I needed to actually finish creating all the Sims before that plan could really go into the full effect that I wanted it to go. So that's why it sort of took a while for this series to actually come about. But it is finally here. It is the Pokemon 2 Sim Create a Sim series. So, I do have some that are actually like the human characters from like the games or the anime or a little bit of both. So, do expect to see some of the more actual human-like characters, which this first video actually is some of the human characters to start off with. And that would be Ash, Brock, and Misty, the main, like, trio group if you watch the show. I actually, fun fact, and probably everyone's gonna maybe possibly judge me, but I've actually been watching all the Pokemon episodes, like the anime, from season 1 all the way dated current 1, just to sort of get to know more about some of the Pokemon as I was creating them, to try to get to learn how to pronounce some of their names and different things like that, though I ended up actually finishing all these Create a Sims before I even got close to finishing the anime. I'm still gonna actually proceed to watch it and finish it from the start to finish now. There are some things that little irritates me here and there because it is sort of geared toward kids, so sometimes, you know, like, when they use their Pokédex to scan a Pokemon that they've already sort of scanned, like, 3 times, like, yeah, you've already run into Gengar about 500 times. You already know pretty much everything about him. Why are you scanning him again and acting like you've never seen him your whole entire life? But I get sort of the purpose behind that is because, like, you may get new people watching the show from season to season and different things like that. But still, there are, you know, things that I'm like, ugh. But again, when you watch almost any cartoon show, when you watch it back as someone who's older, you really start to notice things that were sort of snuck into there. More so, or things that when you're watching, if you're watching it with a kid, that they're like, oh, like they sort of are piecing things together, but not nearly as much. It's sort of interesting and amusing, but, and there are some, like, the thing that honestly gets on my nerves the most is the fact that the group of people that you mainly watch and follow along, which is basically Ash and whoever the heck ends up joining him in his journey, their Pokemon almost never evolve. And, like, some of them I get. Like, Pikachu, he needs a Thunderstone. Okay, I get it. If you don't give him a Thunderstone, he's not gonna evolve. That makes sense. And if you give a Pokemon an Everstone, yeah, that makes sense too. But most of these Pokemon don't have Everstones, and if supposedly, like, Ash is becoming so much stronger in his journey, and so are these other characters, why aren't their Pokemon evolving like everyone else around them? Like, it's never made sense to me. And it's just, there's a few things like that I'm like, why? And also, like, time progression seems to happen in this world, but at the same time not happen in this world. I think a lot of the things they could have, honestly, personally, I feel like they should have done it this way to begin with, is maybe let Ash actually age up throughout the series, because technically I think I've seen someone actually did, like, the math compared to what is stated in the seasons, like, how many months it is till, like, the Johto League and all that stuff, championships, and, like, using those different cues to figure out what Ash's age would have actually been. And I think he's already technically should be in his 20s if you do the math of what it says in the show. But the whole entire time he stays 10. I don't think they ever mentioned that he's even aged up to 11. Maybe he has, and I just don't remember it. But I don't think it ever has. So there's no way that all of this has transpired while he's been 10. So, that sort of annoys me. I think they should have let him actually age up to a certain point. And maybe once it got to a certain point that he may have been considered or deemed too old for the demographic they were mainly going after, then maybe be like, speed up the timeline, and maybe eventually Ash actually does become what he wants to become, but he ends up settling down and he has a kid, and maybe his kid starts going on the same journey. That would have made more sense. Okay, anyway, I'm going to get on a rant on this show and not actually talk about the Create a Sim here. So, by this point, it should actually already be on Misty. And, of course, Brock is next. Out of the three, Misty is definitely probably my favorite. But I also do tend to lean more towards water Pokemon anyway, so that's probably a big reason why I tend to sort of like her a little bit more so. um, Also, she seemed to have a little bit more of a sense and more of like a story. Her story seemed to make sense for the most part, more so than some of the others. Like her story actually seemed like it tended to stay progressing, versus everyone else was just stuck at the same age. Anyway, on that note, I mean, granted, I think her and Brock both do appear back in the Sun and Moon episodes, which I did watch some of the Sun and Moon episodes before I actually went back and started, but then when I started this, I was like, you know what, let me go all the way back. Let me go all the way back to the beginning, because I watched the first episodes, like the first seasons when I was little, like the ones that basically dealt with the 151 Pokemon, and I got a little bit into the ones that dealt with Generation 2, not like fully into them nearly as much, but I did get into it a little bit. But eventually I stopped watching and I sort of fell out of touch with Pokemon, and then as I got older, like other things, I started getting back into some other things. Pokemon eventually grew back on me, and probably in more of a bigger way than it was before, especially when it comes to the cards. Like, I had cards when I was little, and I wish I would have kept all those cards, but I did not. Which I didn't have like a whole lot, but the ones I did have, I did not actually keep. So I wish I would have, looking back on it now, but I was like, I enjoyed them and things like that, but I didn't actually play the games. I never gave the games a try. I just basically watched the show, and then one or two of the movies. I know I've seen the very first movie. I think I've seen the second one as well with Lugia when I was younger, but I wasn't into it as much. Now, like, the cards mean a little bit more to me. I don't really play the game. I'm more of look at the cards from a collector standpoint. I am huge into collecting things in general, so I do look at them at more of a collector standpoint than, like, the actual playing the card game standpoint. Maybe in the future I would try to give the card game a try, but I've never actually played it. I've witnessed a few play it here and there, but I don't fully understand the grasp of it. I've never actually played like a physical card game like that way, like the Magic the Gathering or the Yu-Gi-Oh cards or the Pokemon. I haven't done any of those type of like playing, so I don't know exactly how all those things work. So I might would give it a try in the future, but as of right now, I just look at them as a collector standpoint. But now I've started to enjoy the games as well, because I never gave the games a try in the first place, and I find it funny that a majority of people are either all about the games and not about the anime, or all about the anime and not about the games. I like both of them. I see like points both ways that could make you, like, I get people's points. There are some things with the anime that doesn't fit with the game, and some things with the game that doesn't fit with the anime, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes that could get a little annoying, especially if you really get attached to the game. But because usually the game comes out before the seasons for the anime, but I can see how it can, but at the same time, like, I don't fully understand, because it's not like horrible. I don't think the anime's horrible, nor do I think it can only be watched by kids, because I personally sort of enjoy it to a extent. I mean, there are some shows that I would watch more likely, yeah, but most of the shows that I really want to watch, I've either already watched all the seasons, or I'm waiting on a particular friend to finish the originals, well, to get to the point of the originals that I am, so that I can continue to watch it and we could talk about it together. But anyway, that's a totally different story all on its own. So, yeah, most of the things I've already sort of watched or caught up on anyway, so, yeah. But, basically, to talk about the actual particular characters for this cast, I definitely went with Ash and, Misty with the looks that you see them in the main, like the first season. With Brock, I did originally try to go with the look that I was going to give him from the first season, but I did struggle a little bit trying to find stuff like outfits for him that in my opinion, matched his outfit enough that you could automatically see it. So I picked a different outfit. I don't remember which season he started wearing an outfit more like that. Maybe the Sun and Moon series, for all I know. I can't remember. It's the one where he has more orange on, and a more orange outfit versus the green and like the browns and stuff. So I did his outfit not based off of like the first season or seasons, but overall I do really like how they turned out. I wish I would have went back and actually gave Misty a little bit of makeup, because I was going for, technically, like, I would class a 10-year-old in the child stage versus Sims, but I did go for teens in this case, just with these characters, because I thought I was preferring to actually make them as teens, because one, I did want to try to get these as close as possible, and unlike the Pokemon, it's sort of open to interpretation, sort of, as I turn them into Sims, versus these already have a humanoid version. Like, you know, they're humans. You know what they look like, technically. So I thought I had more options as a teen, like, for teens and stuff like that. Plus, to me, I actually don't know exactly what age Misty and Brock are, right off the top of my head. I do think they're definitely older. By the way people still talk about them, they're not like adults. So they're definitely like in their teens, late teens. If they're somewhat of adult, they're like really just became adult, like 18, 19, 20 sort of age. But I think Brock is technically the oldest. So he may already be technically getting into that young adult stage, but I definitely say Misty is probably a teen. But they also sort of made it seem like maybe Misty and Ash would have had crushes on each other, so who knows, maybe Misty is closer to being 10 years old. I'm not really sure. Sometimes things are a little blurry and seem to slightly change from time to time, and I'm not entirely sure. Out of the seasons I'm up to like Diamond and Pearl, I think it is, with Dawn and May definitely look like they're more closer to age-wise to Ash than Misty was. Again, I'm not entirely sure. There's probably an episode somewhere where they actually state their age, and I just don't remember. But anyway, so I did think, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do them as teens, and it would make, honestly, Ash should already be a teenager, if not older, at this point in the series, but, you know, they don't have that. But anyway, this video should be getting to the screenshots very soon and getting towards the end. I didn't think I was going to actually talk during this whole one, because this one is probably going to be one of the longer ones. And I usually, by now, I'd start adding music for the cast, but I ended up rambling about just the show itself. So there's that. So I hope you enjoyed this Create a Sim. If so, please hit that lovely like button and subscribe to see the next installment of the Pokemon cast series here on the channel. There is quite a few Sims that I have made. I am open to suggestions of Pokemon to make. There is a tweet over on my Twitter somewhere that shows the Pokemon I did 100% sure make, and I stated that the first so many suggestions I will try and make for you all, but I'm not going to take like all suggestions because there is a lot of Pokemon out there, so I am not going to make all of them. I've thought of the idea, like, maybe I should, and then I'm like, no, that's way too many. And plus, like, with the evolution sets, for the most part, they would end up looking somewhat similar, probably. So, you know, maybe if I did something like all the evolution sets, so, like, you know, Pichu, Pikachu, and Raichu, I had one sim made for them, even though I've already made Pikachu, but just as an example, maybe one sim to reference all three of them, something like that, maybe. Maybe I could do, but otherwise, yeah, I'm not doing all those. But anyway, again, hope you enjoy the video. Subscribe, share, hit that little notification bell, and all that good stuff. Check out some of my other Sims 4 series down in the description below, as well as my social media. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!